Coming up on this episode of 101 Sports,
we discuss the best Christmas miracles of all time.
Which teams are exceeding expectations?
And team jerseys that would make the best, ugliest Christmas sweaters.
All that and so much more.
And it all starts right now.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of 101 Sports. I'm Thomas Hale.
And I'm Ellie Whittington. It's the final show of the fall season, so we've decided to celebrate with a special holiday-themed episode. As always, we start the show with the quick hitters, or for this show, the naughty and nice list.
The New York Giants have been dreadful all season, and head coach Ben McAdoo may have just put himself on the top of the sports naughty list. Last week, McAdoo announced the benching of franchise quarterback Eli Manning, who would be replaced by Geno Smith, and at some point, rookie Davis Webb. This ended Manning's streak of 210 consecutive starts, second all time. Ellie, what do you think of all this?
Poor Eli.
I know.
I'm such an Eli fan, and this benching.
He took down the Pats twice. How can you hate him?
Yes, true. Exactly. You can't hate Eli. And I guess his coach just thought that this was his answer, and it got him fired. This did not get him fired,
yeah,
but
they didn't agree with him.
That's not a way to go out with a bang.
Exactly.
I think that Eli is the 7th quarterback to eclipse 50,000 passing yards. That is one of his brother Peyton, Brett Favre, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. Eli is among those names.
Yeah.
And if you say that Eli is done, that is ridiculous, because as those names I just told you, Brett Favre made an amazing comeback. Peyton exited so well, and Drew Brees is still playing incredible.
And going off of that, they were going to start Geno Smith for a while, and Geno Smith simply is not the answer. While he was at the Jets, he barely passed 3,000 yards and 12 touchdowns in both seasons. Eli easily does that every single season.
I think the Giants are done for this year, but Eli is definitely not.
We'll keep him to stay.
While he personally may have a permanent spot on the naughty list, it's been years since anyone could consider Tiger Woods' golf game nice. However, in his first tournament in nearly a year, Tiger finished tied for 9th at the Hero World Challenge, shooting -8 for the tournament with 3 rounds under par. Thomas, what does this mean for Tiger Woods going forward?
I'm going to say Tiger's making a little bit of a comeback, just a little one. He's not going to be top 10 in the tournament.
Right.
He jumped 500 spots in the world ranking, given it was
Tell
from
him his
1,200 to 650 or so, but
Right.
it's fine. He's feeling better. He's healthy. It's good to see him getting out there and playing golf again. What I think this means for him is that he's going to slowly ease into some domestic tournaments. Going international is too much for him now.
I think that
he wants to win a big one.
Tiger is so done.
He's done for.
I mean, this guy was one of the ranked as the best in golf, and you just said he's like 650 in the world. Like, that does not matter to me. I also want to point out that this Hero World Challenge Championship that he played in is his own tournament for his foundation.
He invited the best players, though.
But that's
Finished above
hilarious.
some
Like,
of the best.
I hope for like PR purposes that you're going to play well and you're going to maybe hopefully do decent in your own tournament. I didn't say it was rigged. I just said it is his own tournament, and thankfully Tiger made headlines for his own tournament. In the past year, he had a DUI over the summer.
Right.
In the past 4 years, he's had 4 back surgeries.
He's made a lot of mistakes
This guy
and injuries.
is so. I think I mentioned before, I met Tiger a few months ago, and he is not a nice guy, and I'm not a Tiger fan.
So you know his character.
I know his character.
You know him personally.
But no, I don't know Tiger personally.
That, as I said, he's healthy again. He's saying he feels better. Hopefully he'll stay healthy and play better.
Healthy
I don't
if
mind
he stays on his nice list.
If he stays on the nice list, that's true. At this point, it seems like there are very few people affiliated with the University of Tennessee football program who don't have a claim on the naughty list. The head coach and athletic director are both out, and the university's first choice as a replacement head coach was ousted by referendum before setting foot in the job. Ellie, do the Vols have any chance of getting back on the nice list?
Absolutely.
Really?
We're talking about a team that has played well. Yes, they've not played well recently.
They played well.
No, I said they've not played well
Okay, I was
recently,
about
but
to
they've
say.
had a great teams in the past.
They haven't won
past.
10 games
They've
in
been
10
on,
years.
They've been on Santa's nice
Naughty
list.
list.
They've been on his nice
Naughty
list before. Yeah, but he can
20
make a
years
comeback.
ago or so.
Well, true, but I agree with that. But I think that Tennessee has one of the best booster clubs in all of college sports.
Passionate fan base.
Passionate fan base, and these people have the money to spend, and I think that getting this coach out of the way and rebuilding is a wonderful thing, and that the Volunteers.
I just think that no matter what, as long as they're in the SEC, they don't have a chance. They can't even handle teams like Missouri, Vanderbilt, or Kentucky. Lost to all 3 teams. How are they going to beat a team like Alabama?
I didn't say the Vols were good. I said that they could come back.
Well, what's the nice list then? They're
well,
just losing less
They're going to get a new
games?
coach.
Okay.
Their fan base is still going to be there.
Okay.
This athletic booster is going to spend the money, and they're going to recruit better.
Okay. And they're going to start winning a lot more?
Exactly. I didn't say that. But I hope that they're going to start winning some more games. And their athletic director said recently, let's go have fun and win championships. So he's talking championships.
They're volunteering to take all the L's in the SEC. It's fine.
After years on the naughty list, it seems like the Browns wide receiver Josh Gordon may have a chance to get back on the nice list. On Sunday, Gordon played his first football game since December 2014, a period of 1,078 days. Thomas, what can we expect from Gordon for the rest of the season and beyond this season?
I cross my fingers. I pray every day that he can finally focus.
You Browns fan?
Yeah, no. I want to see Josh Gordon focus on his career. Stop, doing that stuff all the time. He's such a good player. In 2013, he had over 1,600 yards. He was averaging 120 yards per game. I want to see those numbers come back.
I would agree that the Browns need some Christmas miracle.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if Josh Gordon is going to be this Christmas miracle, but they do need some hope. And I would hate to be a Browns fan anytime, but I definitely think this past Sunday, him coming back, he did okay.
He had a great game.
He had a great
80 yards on like 5 catches. Pretty good.
They lost, but what's
Browns.
new? I think that this is hopeful for them.
Yeah.
I hope that Josh Gordon, like you said, stays out of trouble, stays on the nice list.
And Deshaun Kaiser, young quarterback, now he's got a new weapon he can play around with.
I hope so. He needs something. And
for real.
The poor Browns. But there's hope, and I think that Josh Gordon can be that hope. And if he doesn't stay with the Browns, which is possible, I think that he could go to another team and still flourish as a wide receiver.
He's going to have a great
impact.
impact. Hope the best for him. Hope the best for him.
That's all the time we have for the naughty and nice list, but we have plenty more one-on-one on the other side of the break. It's a Christmas miracle. Welcome back to One-on-One Sports. Each year, we all hold out a little hope that we'll see a Christmas miracle. I'm joined at the desk now by Emmanuel Tobe and Jimmy Longo to tell about the greatest sports miracles. We're going to start out with the NBA. What is the greatest miracle in the NBA?
So for me, I'm going to have to go with the shot. There's only one The Shot, and it's by Michael Jordan. 1989 playoffs, first round, Chicago Bulls going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sorry if you're a Cleveland fan, but it's one of those days where it's just not going your way.
I give credit to MJ, but Jordan Brand, Ray Allen, 2013 NBA Finals. No, let's talk about this here. Let's go back. Let's go back in the time. Okay.
Back in the time? Back 4 years?
They were down 3-2. Everyone in the stadium was pretty much gone. They lost hope in their team. They were down big, and then they came back. 5 seconds left. Ray Allen hits this three-pointer.
That's not even LeBron's best miracle in general.
LeBron
Like even him
shot
coming
the
back
three-pointer.
3-1, like it was a better.
That was the greatest series, NBA series I've ever been alive to see.
Oh, okay, been alive to see? Okay.
I know, I give credit to MJ.
Guys,
but
both of
no
these
one
were great
really-
stories. I am a Michael Jordan fan, but Jimmy, you brought a great story, and we're going to go over to Major League Baseball. Jimmy, what's your best miracle in Major League Baseball?
As much as I hate to say it, the 2004 Boston Red Sox run. Unbelievable. I remember when I was a kid, I was watching the ALCS. It was Game 4. Johnny Damon hits 2 home runs, a grand slam in the second, which really just blew. It was the worst thing as a child to see the Yankees lose, but it was just unbelievable, the whole series.
I mean, you want to talk about unbelievable? Let's go way back in time since you were talking about going in time. 1988, the World Series. We have Kirk Gibson, someone who's injured, wasn't even supposed to play, both legs, couldn't even really hit the ball, and they had him playing. And the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, he goes in, hits this home run, can't even follow through with his legs, stumbling across.
Until 2004, they hadn't won a World Series since 1918.
Guys, great baseball stories. Excuse me, we're going to head over to the NFL for one last Christmas miracle or miracle.
So for me, it has to be the New Orleans Saints winning the Super Bowl 4 years after Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina was one of the deadliest hurricanes in United States history. It's the second most costliest storm, the number one in terms of deaths since 1928, as well as, but to see that kind of city and that team come together.
It is definitely an awesome thing, but I think David Tyree getting that catch by Eli Manning in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left in the Super Bowl, beating the Patriots, knocking off their undefeated season, 72 Dolphins. that was the greatest catch I've ever seen, and I think that was one of the biggest moments.
To me, Danny Amendola's catch was better. I'm just
Guys,
putting it out there.
thanks so much for sharing this. I appreciate it. That's all the time we have for this block, but miraculously, Thomas will be joined at the desk to discuss which teams have outlasted their expectations.
Turn here. There. Excuse me.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
That's slow and blue like it's on. Seriously. Okay.
Each season, there tends to be a team that defies the odds and exceeds their low expectations. I'm joined at the desk by our experts to discuss which teams acted like the Hanukkah oil and outperformed people's expectations. Guys, let's kick it off. Andrew, let's go NFL.
We're going to go to this year's LA Rams. No team has seen such a drastic change from 2 slump years in their quarterback and running back all the way to potential MVP candidates. I'm going with the Rams.
Wow, all right.
All right, for me, simple. 2007 New York Giants. Got in the playoffs as a wild card team, won the Super Bowl and beat a team who had never lost until that game and that season. I think that's outlasting expectations if you ask me.
Great answers, guys. Brad, let's move on to the NBA. Who you got for basketball?
2007, the Golden State Warriors, 8 seed against the 67 and 15 number 1 seed Dallas Mavericks. Beat him in 6 games. That really got the pride of the Warriors going before the juggernaut bandwagon fans came now, so that's my team.
I picked the 2011 Dallas Mavericks because especially in the finals, nobody thought that they would go in and even be competitive with the Heat, let alone win and beat it and hand LeBron his second NBA Finals defeat. The Mavericks just outperformed everybody.
Talk about Dirk Nowitzki. Everybody thought he was on his way out. Came back and did his thing that
Lasted
game.
6 more
Beat
years.
LeBron.
Yeah.
Really big time. So let's switch things over to baseball. Andrew, MLB.
I'm gonna pick the 2014 Baltimore Orioles because while they weren't a championship team, they made it as far to the ALCS. The runners-up in the AL had a great all-star team with Chris Davis, Mark Reynolds amongst others, and Nick Markakis to lead that team. Outperformed, and as a Baltimore fan, made me happy.
Where did they end up in the standings at the end of the year?
Not in the World Series.
Go off of that a bit.
So let's go with that.
Fine.
1969 Mets. Context here. This
Nice.
team, the year before, 73 wins. Year before that, 60. Year before that, 58, 52, 50, and 40. Then they won the World Series in 1969 after being the worst team in the league the year before. That is the biggest, I think, in all of sports outliving of expectations, I guess, in a franchise history, really.
Do you think that this will be your NHL pick?
What'll be my NHL pick?
What's your NHL pick?
Oh, okay. My NHL pick. 2010 Philadelphia Flyers. This team only made the playoffs because they won a shootout in the last game of the season, and then they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals and almost beat the Chicago Blackhawks. This team should never have even been in the playoffs, and we're 2 games away from winning the Stanley Cup.
I'm going to go to a team that actually won the Stanley Cup in 2006, the Carolina Hurricanes, their only cup. Overcame any odds they had to face.
Can't fault that.
Won 4-3 in a thriller of a series.
How long do you think it's going to take to get that again?
Lord knows.
It's going to take a while.
Will they even
Lord
be in
knows.
Carolina by the time it maybe happens again?
Who
knows?
Another discussion for later. Well, hey, that's all the time we have, guys. Thanks for joining us. Our team is burned up, but don't worry, because up next, our Olympic experts tell you about Russia's most recent trip to the naughty list.
For this block, we will be breaking from our holiday theme to discuss one of the biggest stories in the world of sports. Earlier this afternoon, the IOC announced that the Russian Federation will be barred for the upcoming Winter Olympics in South Korea. This comes after a string of allegations of statewide doping after the Sochi Olympics in 2014. Russian athletes who can prove they are clean will be allowed to compete under a neutral flag. I'm joined by Jenny Berman and Mason Stoff to discuss the impact of this unprecedented decision coming this afternoon. So, Jenny, will you start off and explain to us what has happened?
So essentially what's happened is that this is an investigation that started in 2015 that now has come to light that essentially statewide support of doping for athletes in the Sochi Olympics. Some whistleblowers came forward and said this is what has been happening. So they started rescinding medals from a lot of the athletes who had medaled in the 2014 Sochi Olympics. The problem is that now they've decided, like, we really need to punish them for this. So this is sort of similar to the NCAA death penalty, where they're saying that you don't get to participate in the Olympics and only we get to invite certain athletes who have passed multiple more rigorous drug testing to compete under that neutral flag.
So, Mason, what does this mean going forth?
It's huge. This is absolutely huge. I like your reference to the death penalty because this is exactly what it is. We're not just punishing any athlete that's been doping. We're punishing the entire Russian Federation, and basically any athlete who believes that they are clean, or even if they don't believe they are clean and want to try, you basically have 2 months to convince the IOC that you are clean, and then you get to compete under a neutral flag, which is already a very sticky situation in a lot of places, competing under a neutral flag. But what this really does is say, this sets a precedent that the IOC, doesn't matter how big the country is, doesn't matter how many representatives you're going to send, it doesn't matter if you're the last time host of the Winter Olympics, this does not fly.
Right, and the other thing to consider with that is just the fact that Russia's historically been a great nation in the Winter Olympics. As you said, they've sent so many athletes who have medaled and done well, and I believe it's been between the US and Russia for the most medals, but this isn't really a secret. We've known that Russia has had doping athletes all the way back from the Soviet Union.
And this is why I'm a little bit concerned over when this decision was released, because this wasn't a surprise to people. The punishment and the severity of it might have been, but the allegations and everything that came out weren't. And the fact that this is less than, or essentially 2 months and a couple of days before the Winter Olympics start, that is a little bit sketchy, because if you have the same 230 plus athletes that you had competing for Russia in 2014, all that are trying to basically go on a case-by-case basis of, I'm clean, I should go compete under a neutral flag, that's a lot of things that the IOC is going to have to deal with in the next 2 months.
I have a question. This timing, like you said, it is so close. Why haven't we been fixing this problem and said this is unacceptable 2 years ago?
I think it's been so hard to prove. They had to do a really lengthy investigation on this. I mean, to ban an entire country, one of the most historic Winter Olympics countries, from the Olympics, you have to be 100% sure that this is what happened. And it wouldn't have happened if not for the fact that 2 Russian scientists in that lab decided to blow the whistle on this and say, look, we've been cheating. But I mean, to that extent, you're talking about now you have to prove that what they're saying is right, everything else. And I don't necessarily say that this decision was something that they were waiting on in order to make it more difficult for the athletes. But I do think that this doesn't come as a surprise and is probably something they should have looked into earlier.
So Mason, what majority of these athletes do you think are going to make it clean and going to make it in the Olympics?
The question of how many do I think are going to make it clean is a lot bigger than how many are actually willing to go compete under a neutral flag, because Russia is such a proud country. First of all, the political situation essentially could put athletes in danger if they decide to say, you know what, to heck with Russia, I'm going to go compete under a neutral flag. I don't think that I think it's still a vast number, but I think that maybe half of the amount that could actually get cleared are actually going to be willing to take that risk because of the political situation, because of the pride in the Russian nation.
I mean, essentially, they're going to be, if let's say they win a medal, right? The Russian national anthem doesn't get to play, the flag doesn't fly, all that stuff. So essentially, it is a neutral athlete. And usually that designation has been used for refugees or people in difficult political situations, which this can count as, but almost in a different sort of way, where this is an Olympics imposed punishment as opposed to something else.
Well, guys, thank you for bringing your expertise at such a short notice and telling us what's going on. There's no doubt that Russia will be on the naughty list this year and getting cold for Christmas. But coming up next, we will find out what teams in college football playoff will be looking for under the tree.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs, just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
The college football playoffs are set. Clemson, Oklahoma, and Georgia were locks, with Alabama edging Ohio State for the fourth and final spot. With the holidays happening right before the semifinals, I'm joined by Don Vernazza and Mahmoud Safwal to discuss what the two road teams hope to find under the tree that might give them their edge in the quest for a championship. So guys, let's start it off with Georgia. Big win over Auburn last weekend. Dom, what are they going to find under the Christmas tree?
What they're looking for is the running backs from that second Auburn game as opposed to the running backs that showed up in their first Auburn game. Look, Oklahoma has a dominant offense. If Georgia wants to win this game, they need to control the clock. They have a freshman QB. You know, obviously he's played well, but still, you want to take as much pressure off him as you can, and you're going to do that by running the ball, controlling time of possession.
But I think that Georgia offensive problem is secondary to exactly what you said. Oklahoma's offense is so potent and strong. So what they need from under the tree is the secret to stopping Baker Mayfield in that number one ranked offense in the country. He's had over 4,000 passing yards, 41 touchdowns. He has more touchdowns this year than he has picks in his whole career in college.
He's dominant, but I just think there's only so much you can do to stop him. If we're being realistic, even with the best defense, you can't do that much. I think your best bet is to keep the ball out of his hands, keep the time possession in your favor, run more plays than they do, and pull it out in the end. I think you need a running game to do that.
What they want from under that tree is something no team has had all season. Oklahoma scored under 30 points one time in this whole season. Over 31, as high as 50 in some games. So no one has had the secret. I don't think, even with a miracle, Georgia's going to keep this a low-scoring game. So maybe the offense has to come when they can't stop Oklahoma.
I want a new car under the tree, but somebody's got to be realistic about what you're going to be getting. I think, yes, obviously they'd love to be able to stop him, but if they're being realistic, I think they have a more likely chance of getting a strong running game.
It's looking like it's going to be quite a shootout over there for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to this Bama versus Clemson game, a rematch from the national championship last year. Really exciting stuff. Matt, what's Bama looking for?
I say they need an X factor. Jalen Hurts has been fine. He's been a good quarterback, and that's all they could ask for. Alabama, not a school with typically strong quarterbacks, but that's fine. They rely on their defense, but when it comes to offense in this college football playoff, they're going to need to play some offense to keep up with Clemson, who has a pretty good offense this year. Their running backs, Damian Harris, Bo Scarborough, have been inconsistent this year. Neither one getting over 600 yards this whole season. So someone's going to have to step up if they want to win this game, get that upset over the defending national champions.
Definitely you're going to need an X factor, but I think even more than that, more than needing an X factor, they want to have this known quality. They want good health for Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's the best player on their team. He's going to be drafted really high, their top corner, and you're right. Clemson has a great offense, but it can be a little inconsistent from time to time. I think they need that number one shutdown corner being healthy and shutting down the number one receiver. That's going to go a long way to keeping a low-scoring game, because you're right. Jalen Hurts, he's good, but, he's not always the best. They want to keep it low scoring, make it a defensive game, and I think having their number one defensive player, their corner, shut down and healthy, that's what they want under
For
the
me,
tree.
I don't think anyone has been worried about Alabama's defense all season. They're not a question mark. We know they're good. We know they're top 5 in the country good.
But the last good team they played, put up some points on them.
They can keep any team, when they are healthy and performing at 100% to, 15, 20 points. But if they can't
healthy,
score 20 points, they're not going to win the game.
That's why they need their best defenders to be healthy. I will say, though, you're right. They're probably also looking for a little bit more accuracy from Jalen Hurts under the tree. I think their offense needs to start from him. You're right. Their running backs can be good, but they need Jalen Hurts playing 100%. They need him being accurate, on point, and making smart decisions. He had a few fumbles against Auburn that really killed them. I think if he plays as well as he can, I think Minkah Fitzpatrick's healthy. Those are the two things they want.
And also, they shouldn't expect Clemson to come out like they did against Syracuse. They're going to be ready. Alabama has to be ready, too.
Well, as we were talking about, Georgia, Oklahoma, looking like a shootout. Bama, Clemson, probably more of a defensive battle.
Absolutely.
Fun stuff in the future. The bracket's set, though. Now we just get to sit back and enjoy the chaos on New Year's Day. When we return, Ellie takes center stage and gives us her final take as host of One-on-One. Don't go anywhere.
The Warriors and Cavaliers battled for the NBA championship. American Pharoah won the Triple Crown. Serena Williams won her 23rd Grand Slam. Michael Phelps won his 28th medal in the Rio Olympics. The Astros won their first World Series. Peyton Manning, Kobe Bryant, Derek Jeter, and David Ortiz all retired from their respected sports. And probably my favorite, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series for the first time in over 100 years. All of these events have happened in the last 4 years, and the best part, this show gave me a platform to share my opinion and excitement through them all. My favorite thing about sports is the opportunity to bring people together. No matter your gender, race, religion, age, or political views, sports allows you to not identify as one of those things, but rather, for me, a Carolina Panthers fan. Sports have also brought this organization together. We are all from different states, study different majors, fans of different teams, but we all come together each week for a common passion of debating sports. I would like to thank this organization for the excitement they bring every week, the hard work they put in a weekly show, and friendships that come out of it. And to you, the viewer, thank you for sharing our passion for sports. Thank you for watching and the support shown to me as host. My goodbye may not be as memorable as Peyton Manning's Super Bowl retirement, but this is not the end, only the beginning.